Hello. Can you guys hear me? I never done this before, so it's gonna be a lot of new things here. Okay, yeah, I can see the live chat here on Chrome, but I cannot see on this group chat thing. I'm gonna type here, see if you guys hello. If you guys see the hello, please type there. I just said hi on the live chat, but hello on the group chat, so I don't know which one. Anyways, doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's start. Let me share my screen here a little bit. Hi. Can you guys see me? I'm gonna have to be juggling the screens here. Super weird to talk by myself. I cannot hear any of you. Okay, I can read the chat. Yeah, I don't know what's the group chat. It's just, to me, shows up a Google Hangouts screen. Okay. So I'm gonna start talking about a little bit of some general thoughts about workflow and tools and all that. First of all, it's to me, workflow is something that there's not only one, and the one that I'll be showing here is my personal one. It's not gonna be the best one for sure. It's not gonna be the only way to do it. It's just my way. So, and the best way for you is the one that works for you, I think. So hopefully you can at least grasp a little bit of here and there and try to apply to you. So and don't be shy about talking about your workflow, the things that I'm gonna show here. If you do it differently, I would love to hear about, because I'm the same as you. I'm always like trying to improve my workflow, so I can do my work faster and better and arrive home for dinner. That's what I want to do. So okay, so about tools. So my thoughts about that is that tools and workflow kind of work together. So one thing that enables you to use certain workflows is a tool, basically. So Maya is the base platform. It's already a tool. So the tools that you built on top of that allows you to create like different things. Because we all know that Maya is like a very naked software as far as animation goes. There's no there's modeling toolkits and like dynamics and everything, but there's no like an animation toolkit. So it's up to us to figure it out and create our workflows with the tools that they give. So I've been always using scripts around, like grabbing scripts here and there. And then when I'm starting to learn how to do it myself, I started to create my own workflows in a reverse kind of way. Like I wanted to do things in a certain way. There was no tools available, so I would create them to do it the way that I want. And then that cycle starts to spin like a lot of times. Like I would refine my workflow, refine the tool, refine the workflow, refine the tool, and go on and on and on. And it's still going. So that's my goal here. So you'll be seeing things like sometimes I will remove some tools because I think it's already obsolete. That happened on A-Tools. I don't know if you guys started using A-Tools back in 2013, 2014. I was updating it quite frequently and I removed a lot of things as well. And the same thing is happening now. Like there's a gap, like a 2 years gap between the time that I finish A-Tools to the time that I start doing the Animbot. So that gap, like I already removed a lot of things. You can probably see that. The main concept remains the same, but tools itself have been changing a lot. And one thing that I like about doing like a tool set instead of individual tools is that that gives a really good opportunity to do a very complex tools in terms of features, but very simple to use as well. I'm going to try to explain here what I mean. So here's my Photoshop. Okay, so say if you have an individual tool, say for instance, this is a very cheap analogy here, but hopefully makes sense. So say you have this is your time. Where's my undo? So this is your time, and this is your skill, let's say. And the time is actually it's related to like your own like memory, let's say. Your memory, your hard drive, your brain hard drive. Okay, so if you are using individual tools, like that's my personal view of this. So start here. That's your skill. Then you start. You learn a new tool. Then you come here, and then you learn another tool, and then you come here, and then learn another tool, and then come here, until like it's a linear process until you run out of hard drive. Then you pretty much you cannot have more tools in a workflow because it's just too much, just too many things to remember, like too many shortcuts, too many ways to do the same thing. But when you're designing a tool set that is more or less related, the tools to each other, you can do like, you can scale this in a different way. Like you can start the same way, and then the first tool that you learn, same thing. But the thing is, like the second one, since the logic is pretty much the same, you're gonna learn in a very faster way. So you're gonna learn another tool here, and the third one you're gonna learn here, and even more so because you can combine the use of those tools. So for instance, you have selection sets, and then you have an align tool, and you can select and align at the same time. So you learn more things when you learn the second tool and the third tool, because you can combine them. So it's kind of an exponential growth. And it doesn't take like the second tool that you learn, it requests much less of your memory, much less of your time. So it's kind of a curve that goes like this. I really try to draw the spots here, but you get the concept. So anyways, like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do that that tool that it's all in one kind of thing. So if I design another tool that does the same thing as another tool that I did, I will probably be removing the old one if I think the new one's better. And yeah, so let's get into the basics of using. So I'm gonna start sharing here my Maya real quick. Hold on just a sec. There we go. That's the one. So far, so good. So I'm going to start here. I have Anibot. I'm going to also start A tools. Shows here at the bottom. So the basic use, I've tried to remember everything here. So I'm going to create a sphere just for the sake of showing. All right, so that's one thing that is really important in this workflow that I'm going to show, to let this sync graph editor display and sync timeline display turn it on, because you want to see the your keys here in the timeline, and say I have some rotation. So when I select, when I have this turn it on, sync timeline display, whenever so if you guys haven't used that yet, whenever I have this selected, the channels, that's the only ones that are going to show. So I'm going to create some rotation keys here. And my 2018 is even better because it shows in the graph editor when there's keys is a darker red. Yeah. So see, if I select just the translation, it doesn't show up in here. But if I select the rotations, it shows my rotation keys. Can you guys see the graph editor? I think I need to move the graph editor here. Yeah. Okay. So same thing, like if you having the sync graph editor display will do the same to the graph editor. So it kinds of matches your selection here. And what the reason that this is important in this workflow is that anything in ATools and Anibot is the same concept. That was actually the very first thing that I did when I was coding this ATools, was that I wanted to have like a specific target to the things that I would do. Like I I really like to work on the timeline as much as possible, and not having the graph editor here at all until I really need it. Because I think it's much faster to like select a key here instead of having to, you know, select all the keys for all controls. And we all know that the graph editor is not that fast when you have too many things selected. So I wanted to make sure that this tool kind of understands where I wanted things to be applied. So things like grabbing the keys like so on the timeline, or selecting here on the graph editor. So let's show an example. Like say I want to create maybe a tweener here. So see, if I don't select that curve specifically, it's gonna apply to the whole thing. But let me just move this thing here down for a sec. So you see, like if I now that I have this key selected, if I do something, it's gonna do only for that key. Same thing if I select here. But if I have nothing selected, it's still gonna do things for every key that I am here. And if I select like a range, I can still like apply things for that range. So that's the basic thing to know, because pretty much every single tool use that kind of thing. So like even the mirror, you can mirror just one channel. Like tangents, everything, like pretty much everything. Unless a tool doesn't make any sense to have that kind of target, you will do it. So like things, for example, let's see another example here. Yeah, like nudging keys. Nudge. You can select more keys to nudge. Well, I mean, I hope you guys got the concept. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, in order to get, the only thing that annoyed me a little bit in that workflow was that sometimes I had things selected in the channel box, but I was thinking that I was, you know, like moving key. It's only when moving keys actually that this is more noticeable. Like, so if you move keys, you think you are doing a good job, but then suddenly you say, "Oh, I was selecting just the rotations." And then you go back to the translations, and everything is messed up. There's still no way to remember that for you. I'm thinking about maybe when you have like channel selected, will change a little bit, like slightly the color of the timeline, so you can tell that there's a filter. But right now you have at least a way to unselect, like to deselect the channels. And I'm gonna go here on the commands, and actually I'm gonna go to the animbot one. I'm gonna show where it is in tools as well. Like there's a channel box tools, clear channel box selection. So when you click here, the selection goes away, and your keys are back to all, let's say. But of course, like everything in this menu here is supposed to be used as hotkeys only, or when you have something that you don't use very often, that's okay to use in the menu as well. But I would say the best way is that you go here to the hotkeys, and then I already separated the recommended keys that I think that should be used as hotkeys. In tools, this will be here in preferences, commands and hotkeys, and unselect channel box. That's the same, pretty much the same command. And on tools, there's these commands and hotkeys are actually was supposed to be just the recommended hotkey, not the recommended one, because I designed this for myself, so it was my hotkeys. So much so that I have everything already set up here. If you take a look, there's already, you can change it, of course, but there's already like the setup that I use. So I can just say set all hotkeys here, and it's gonna say, okay, so are you sure, and confirm. Set hotkeys for all this, and then there's a list. I would say yes, and did it work? Maybe it doesn't work. Oh, right, it doesn't work on Maya 2018. The hotkeys on tools. Yeah, because they changed. I think they changed these hotkey. What's the name again? Is a hotkey profile or something? Hotkey set. Yeah, so they changed this. So it does that doesn't work anymore. But this one does. So you can say like here, I used to hit Shift Control Alt and C. I think that was it. And then let's say here. Whatever. So you can apply, and then you can use this to. So let's see if that works. I don't think I can use Control Command Shift. Control Shift C. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's it for this workflow, and I'm gonna since I'm here on this hotkeys, recommended hotkeys, I'm gonna show a few more things. We're not seeing anything. Oh. Of course. Okay, thanks for letting me know. The thing is, I think I need to, can I dock this? I think I need to show it in a different way here. Hold on just a sec. I'm a newbie in this, so I apologize now and in advance for future mistakes. So let me see if I can do this here. So share. Okay, I think I can share my entire screen. That'll be better. Whoa, there's an infinite loop here. Okay, I'm looking at myself right now there. There's a lag. Okay, now I can see that you can see. Okay. So I'll be back. So what did I miss? I think it was the menu here. I was talking about this preferences of commands and hotkeys. So yeah, that was the one that I mentioned, that it's my personal hotkeys. So this is the unselect channel box that I was talking about. But unfortunately, in I think 2007 or maybe 2006 even, this doesn't work anymore. So on any bot can go to the hotkeys here. It's the same thing. So that's the one that I set it up. Shift Command C. It's my hotkey to remove the selection there. And then if you take a look at here on the timeline, when I do it, it shows up all those keys again. Let me just make sure. Was there anything missing? You think? I'm not sure what you guys missed, so let me know. Come back here. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the ones. This one. Okay. So we have the reset value is one that I use as well as a hotkey. It's just so you can reset. And if you are if you don't know what that does, in the future we will have everything will have like the tooltip here that shows what it does. Right now, I'm still working on that. So there's some that has, some that doesn't. So hang tight, they will be there. But you can click, and then that will actually run the command. So you can see here, like if I say, oh, by the way, that's a good example of what I was talking about. Let me check the translations here. I'm gonna just this translation. Okay, I'm gonna move this out of the way just a little bit. Okay, so in this keyframe, I have rotation and scale keys only. I don't have any translation. So if I'm on top of this key right now and I said reset, see how that doesn't reset the translation there? That's because it's targeting just those keys. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you want, like for instance, if you want a key there and reset, you set a key first and then you reset. So it's just a mindset, let's say. And I think it's, to me, that helps a lot on avoiding too many keys, because the scene gets very heavy when you have too many keys that you don't want. So for I usually like have a selection all the characters and I key everything, but I don't like to key like visibility channels. So I do like if I don't have a picker that grabs exactly those channels that I want, I do a selection set for those channels. So if you don't key one thing, but you select the control later, this is not going to affect that channel because there's no keys. There's a few exceptions, of course, like let me remove all those keys. So if I don't have any key, but I reset, then it's going to reset. But if I have like one key, and then I reset, it's going to reset just that key. So that's the way pretty much everything works. All right, so next, I'll, by the way, I could clear using this, the keys. Those are one to try. Remember when we had that command, I use that a lot to go to the next frame or next keyframe, but you don't want to have the undo be storing that, you know, that keyframe jumping. Like you want to change, you want to do this, but you don't want undo. You want to undo to actually undo the actions, not the navigation, especially if you are flipping things a lot. So I usually replace the normal one with this. So that'll be next frame. It will be Alt and this one. Next keyframe will be this. Previous frame will be this. Previous keyframe. That's okay. And one thing extra that this does, I won't be able to show with the sphere here, Maybe when I get to the character, I'll try to show. When you have a really heavy rig, and then your jumping keys, even if you press like 10 times, you're gonna see the timeline doing this, boom, 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 going every single frame, right? What this does is that bypass that. So if you press like 10 times, and it's gonna skip a lot of them, because it's gonna store like, okay, you press 5 times, I'm gonna jump 5 frames ahead, 5 keyframes ahead already. So that's the way that thing works. So it might help with, you know, have heavy rigs and you wanna jump keys more quickly. Those grade ones are not implemented yet. Set smart keys, the one that I use. I think I already mentioned about that one. I'm not gonna waste your time right now. Set of keys or channels. Oh, and that one, display, toggle display NURBS. Usually, I think it's shift N. Yeah. And toggle geometry, shift G. Okay. So what that does is, let me just open up. By the way, I was testing that a little bit before the going live, and it was not working on. There was a rig that was not working on my 2018. So I had to go back to 2017 instead. So what I was going to show you, the hotkey. Let me see if I need to go set this up as well. Yeah. Let me test one thing real quick. I've never done this before, so there's a bug. Forgive me. I'm gonna export my hotkeys. I'm gonna save this. Somewhere. Test off. See if I can load my other Maya. Some that loads, some that didn't. Maybe it didn't apply. It did apply, didn't it? Oops. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so toggle NURBS and toggle geometry is pretty much the toggle controls, basically. And the geometry is gonna toggle not only polygons, but it's gonna toggle a few more things like NURBS surfaces, and subdivision surfaces, and a bunch more stuff. But it's meaning to for to quickly like grab controls that are behind the rig or inside the rig, and that. Okay, I think I can jump to the keep alive that I was talking about. Let me just make sure that you guys are still listening. Okay, there you go. So the idea of this one is, this one is an animation that I applied that. So there's you can see here I have two animation layers. I'm gonna turn those off just to see what's behind it. It's just a simple move. The rest of the body is very stiff. There's no animation on pretty much nothing there, but the top part. So what I'm gonna, what I usually do to make that, you know, like it's a very quick and cheap way to do it. It works for like some cases, not everything, but I usually have a breathing layer, which is basically like you can. It's a very subtle. I think I'm going to zoom in here and maybe show the polygons. So there's a little bit of a breathing action there. I'm gonna scrub, especially in that part. So it's an animation. What it is an animation. I'm gonna show you. I'm doing that, but it's basically an animation on this layer. So if I grab the graph editor there, and you can select the objects that are on this layer. Okay, click. So it's a very simple, like few curves between that breathing thing. So it's a mix of chest scale. Sometimes the rig have a blank shape in there. There's a little bit in the mouth. If you look, like you can go like wild here. Like you can go, depending on your animation, like you can go really. Like you see that there's even like a nose thing. I was doing this animation for I did a 10-hour not tutorial per se, but like just showing me animating this from scratch. So if you want to see that, it's in my my other channel, but it's in Portuguese. Sorry. Maybe one day I will, but it's already old anyway, so it doesn't matter. But there's a little bit of this. There's a little bit in the mouth, as I said. Probably there's a little bit on the shoulders. So that's the breathing thing. But the other thing that is the most cheapest one is this one. I'm gonna turn off the breathing and turn on this. This is just a keeping alive in random thing. You know, when you are drawing like traditional animation, that you see the draws by itself, they shake a little bit, right? Because it's one drawing after another, you have that living thing happening. Like it's not meant to be another pose or anything, but it's just like a little bit. In CG, we don't have that, so it's kind of one of the hardest things to do, in my opinion, is making that kind of refinement where things are very still. So I'm gonna just play that a little bit. Let's see if it's noticeable. It's very subtle. I'll probably have to amp that up a little bit. I'm gonna amp this up just so you guys can see it. It's meant to be very subtle, but it gives a little bit of life. So I'm gonna just use Pull Push. So see, another thing, like to use the sliders that may speed up things a lot. There's a few ways to do it. If you click on that box here, you can actually pin the ones that you like. But I usually work with just one. And if you right click on here, you can switch to others. Like this is the Pull Push, and so on and so forth. But every single one of them have a hotkey, not a hotkey, a shortcut. It's a shortcut. So for instance, the Pull Push is the Alt key. So I can be in whatever slider, and if I hold down the Alt, it's gonna show the Pull Push. And then I can do it. I'm just gonna amp that up a little bit. I'm gonna aim even more here so you can see what's going on. Whoa! So see, like it's a random movement. That's what it is. So I'm gonna show right now how you can do this very quickly. Actually, I'm gonna show you this rig. I'm gonna show you this rig. I did another pose. I don't know what. Let me try to do this one. It's gonna take a little longer, but it's fine. Okay, they're still there. No matter how many times I press on those shoulders again, it shows again. Okay, so I did a very quick pose. There's no animation. And I'm gonna select some controls to randomize. So what is this again? Graph editor. There's a command on A-Tools here that I use if you guys want to do that. Where is A-Tools? That one is not gonna, I'm gonna do it very differently on Anybot, but I'm gonna do more like a command that is not designed for my own use only. So there's this set3 panel layout. Is the layout that I usually work with. So it's a graph editor at the bottom, perspective here, and camera there. And then when I have two monitors, I just turn off one copy and move to the other monitor, and then I expand this one. If I can. I don't know why the space is not working. By the way, space is not working. I have no idea how to expand this without using the hotkey. Doesn't matter because I'm going to use this here anyway. Okay, so I'm going to just move this away. So that's my camera. That's my perspective. Manipulator. Here we go. So I'm going to start by grabbing, I think I'm going to grab, that's going to be a tricky one because I want to grab this maybe, possibly not. I think I'm going to grab just the chest. And I never use this rig, so I might do things that I'm not supposed to. Oh, and you will see me doing this thing a lot by mistake. Because I'm trying to press the Alt, but at work I use Linux, and at home it's a Mac, so I don't know why they decided to be different. But I can't, like, my brain cannot handle two setups for the Alt, Control, and Shift. So I'll be doing that a lot. So if I rotate this, oh, there's another thing that I can show you how to handle it. Like, I'm rotating the chest, but I wanted the hand to rotate as well. If your rig has the space for this, let's check. Is it follow chest? Yeah, there's one there. You can change this, but if you just go here and change, it's gonna pop somewhere else. Wasn't that bad, but pop in another place. And the reason is that the values here should be different since they're following a different parent. And you can use the switcher tool, which will be this one in the future. space switch. Innate tools is this one. It's a little bit confusing right now how to use it, because if you select the controls and hit this rig show the follow there, but some rigs, not some rigs, some kinds of attributes doesn't. Let me see if I think maybe this one. Yeah, like this one, there's a, instead of being a list, like this one is a list of things. So those kinds of switches, this tool is gonna pick up automatically, but this kind of switch you want. See how the eye is changing position there when I move? So for those cases, the only thing that you need to do, that it's not very clear, I know, I'll try to do it in a better way, but once you do it, you'll probably remember. But just select the channel and click the button. That's it. And then it's gonna show here the menu to switch that. And when we switch here, it's not gonna change your pose. It's gonna snap back again where it was. And if you look closely here on the attributes translation, and usually rotation as well, there's no rotation there, but when it does, you'll see. So if I say none, it's gonna change the attribute, and it's gonna change the translation a little bit as well. Even change the scale. But that's what it does. So I'm gonna do this for this guy. So I'm gonna change to follow chest. And remember when I was saying that that target thing, where you can select a range, you can select like a lot of keys, you can obviously do this with this as well. Like I'm gonna show a quick example. Like first let me do a selection all. I'm gonna key this, and I'm gonna do another key here, and another key here, just for the sake of the example. So I moved the hands to the chest, the space of the chest, so it works the way I want, except that what happened here, I don't know. Well, I think I did a key in the wrong spot. Okay, so cool. That's what I needed. So usually I block, I like to block with things constrained kind of that way. Not constrained, it's not using constraints. I mean, the space being more like a parent space instead of a world space. But the thing is, like when I'm splining, I prefer to set all the IKs back to world space, because if you go to the graph editor, the Y translation would mean up and down, and so on and so forth. When it's apparent to another thing, like the up here will be diagonal. Like right there. So it would be very confusing. So what I do here is you can either do this and select your keys and switch that back to world, and that switch all our poses. But now it's free, right? And there's and even for this tool in particular, there's a shortcut that you don't even need to select all the keys, unless you want like just those two keys or just a section. Then you can do this. But if you are doing like switching back and forth all the animation, like I usually like to do, you can just go here and there's another menu here that says all keys, and then you can just do that. It's the same thing. Oh, there's another. Oh, but it's not working on the tools. Damn it. Okay. See how I did this on the orientation there, like world. There's a world, object, and I think it's parent. Or maybe, I think those are the ones that this command will cycle through. So there's a, oh, I can actually use it here, just a hotkey that does not work, I think. So toggle move mode. Yeah, there you go. So it's gonna toggle this to world, object, and parent. So I usually do that a lot, like just a hotkey. So it's easier when you do those things. And there's another one for the rotation that's gonna rotate world, gimbal, and local or object. So yeah, and there's this another one, orient move manipulator. Let me find where those are here. Manipulator tools, yeah. So there's orient move, yeah, rotate local gimbal, local world gimbal toggle is the one that I was showing, the rotation, and move object local world toggle is this one. I don't know why I selected very longer name now, but I might change that. And there's this another one here that is gonna align to the last object that you selected. So if you want this to move, say, on that axis, you just select this one, first the IK, then the control that you want, and then you orient that, and it doesn't work. Let me see. Oh yeah, it did work, but because this one, let me see if that works. Maybe select the wrong one, or maybe what did I do? I'll try again. Yep, not working. Cool. But it was supposed to happen is this manipulator here would turn into a custom one. Oh, there you go. Why didn't? Oh, that might be because it's my 2017, and I need to do something about it. So see how that is the same angle. So I'm moving in the same angle that the other control, and that is useful for cases where, say, the character is holding a book, and you want the hand to slide through the book, and they're not parent or anything. You can move like that way, and that's gonna help you with that. Anyways, I'm deviating a lot from the real thing that I was supposed to show you guys. Let's get back to it. Are you guys sleeping already? Okay, so I'm gonna select. Let's do this. Clear those keys that I did. And then this still as to the chest, so I'm gonna select chest. It doesn't move. Maybe I select this one. Yeah, this moves a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'll select this one, I noticed this morning that there's a breathing control here. Oh, see how the in this case, the breathing thing will crash with the hand. So I will select the hand as well, because I'm gonna have to move this a little bit. So select those guys. I usually do like a selection sets that matches the layer that I'm going to create. I'll say breathing. Can even give another color for this one, just to sake of organizing. I'm gonna add mouth controllers, or maybe this one. I'll do it very simple here, okay? I'm not gonna try to do it very appealing. This is gonna take even longer. What I need to do. I'm gonna add. So there's a few hotkeys here as well. You can right click and say add selection, but take a look on the right side. There's shortcuts to do that. So it's just boom. And you add those controls on the jaw. What else? I'm gonna scratch the head a little bit. Whatever. Okay. Those were gonna be my breathing controls. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add an animation layer. Then I'm gonna say breathing. And I'm gonna key that. And do another key maybe around here. And say another key maybe around there. This one will be my breathing pose. I'm gonna maybe move that up a little. You can actually do that very like broad, then you can de-amp later. I think sometimes helps to visualize what they're doing. I'm just gonna move that away. Whoops. You just that's one of the cases that I wanted to change to row. Flip that a little bit. I'm gonna move. Oh, shoulders. I forgot about the shoulders. So when I forget and I want to add something, I add this and this. And then remember I showed you, I think yesterday, this button here, shared key. So I can just, or you can just click here to select everything again and then click here. So it's gonna add the same keys, or it should have added the same keys. Oh, right, there's one exception there. When you are working on an animation layer, you need to at least have one key first, because otherwise it's gonna act on the base one. That's a default Maya thing, which I actually like, because it prevents you to doing weird stuff. Okay, so now you have the keys there. Okay, so I'm gonna move those guys up a little bit. I'm gonna move up a lot. I'm gonna de-amp this later, so don't worry. I'm gonna open this a little bit. I could like do a very like much better shape here on the mouth, like, but or even not animate the mouth at all. I'm gonna add this as well. Oops. I'm gonna do this again. Key. Actually, before keying, I did a mistake. I'm gonna do that key because I keyed on the wrong layer, because I need to first add this and then key. And then I'm gonna mirror the keys, share the keys. Okay, so now I'm ready to Can I scale this? Oh my. Okay. That's my breathing, awesome breathing pose. There we go. Now even, do that again. I'm gonna even like, I'm gonna grab the main one as well. Just because I want to move this up a little bit. What if I rotate that back a little? Okay, let's suppose this is a good pose. Now what I do is just a little bit of a timing thing for this. I'm gonna open the graph editor, but usually I don't even look at the graph editor when I'm doing this. So that's what I have at the moment. I'm gonna force like an ease out and then an ease out again. I'm gonna use the tweener to do that. It's not coloring. Oh, that's why. One thing that I like is that when I using Twin Machine, I like to the keys to be yellow because it shows me right away that those are the keys and that was created with the Twin Machine. By the way, you can do like a breakdown here if you want to go fancy. I don't think it's gonna make too much of a difference, but maybe I can say I can delay the rotation. Oh, it's not in control. I don't think I rotate this. Oh, I just moved. Okay, so maybe I can. Wait. That might be too much. Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna use pull push. Oh, actually, I want to jam just the rotation. So I can either grab this key and do it. So I can, fine tune. Okay, let's see. Let's suppose this is my breakdown. You can go crazy. I'll just do this. And then I'm gonna continue here to do a use. Oh, it's still red. If you turn this thing on, it's gonna key that tint that automatically for you. That's the way I prefer. And the same thing here. I'm gonna do like an ease out. I'm not gonna do a breakdown here. Just gonna straight ease out. And if you want to, there's another slider here that is a blend to easy. Use this one. So it's a shift control hotkey that you can like push the ease even further if you want. What happens if I select this? Let's see. It's gonna just push that breakdown a little bit. I'm not sure if I want. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is my breathing. And then if let's have a cycle just for this example. It's not working. Where's my cycle? Cycle. Oh, there it is. It's gonna cycle. Okay, so that's my first. Oh, I forgot one. I didn't do the cycle for all. It probably. I probably didn't even. Besides this control. Yeah, I didn't even. I forgot about the other ones. Okay, let me redo it again. So I'm gonna just The same timing for this. Okay. Then, by the way, one of the things that I want to do in the future is a key to copy ease in and outs from one curve to another, because I think that's gonna be very useful. Let's share this, then you can just move this there, just so I have the same sort of this. Okay. Okay. Now it's open the mouth, and now I just need to cycle this as well. There you go. Now I have the breathing. It's very exaggerated, so I can just select this. Maybe I can't do that anymore in this my 2018. Why not? I'm gonna just, yeah. Oop. By the way, that was not the best way to do it, because you can do it, still can do it if you just grab the middle ones. But I think the best way in this case, if you want to select everything, is to use the blend to default, because then it's gonna blend to default value, I hope. No, it's moving things that are not supposed to be. Because you are an animation layer and the default value is not the same. But I can just grab the middle ones then. Yeah. This one. So I can, yeah. Actually, no, actually, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna use blend to neighbors. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of modes here, and if you, I try to do in a way that is very abstract, in a sense that it does a very obvious thing. Like, for instance, blend to neighbors. It's gonna blend to the neighbor key. So that's, if you know that and you understand this concept, you can use this even in here, for instance, because I can blend this to this neighbor, this key. So that's, I think that's gonna do what I want. Yeah, that's what I want to do. The pull plus is a little bit different, because in this case it's gonna work the same way. But if I have this, if I select another range, for instance this ones, and I use the pull push to the amp, it's gonna end up being linear. That's the end of the slider. Is gonna be linear, and the top of the slider is just gonna amplify that. So what I usually do is that I go to my extreme here, pose here, and then just the amp to whatever you like. Maybe around here, it's good. Okay. So now it's much subtle. Let's save this. Let's just make sure you guys are still there. Yeah, cool. And now the other layer, which is that's the most, like, I don't know. I don't even know a word in English to describe. A very lazy one. So the same thing, like with the breathing, I'm gonna select some controls to have random move, just for that little keep alive thing. So I'm probably going to select this one, and chest again. Maybe I'll select the head a little bit. Usually I select just broad ones. If the hand is just hanging, I would select it, but since it's attached to the chest, I don't want that to be moving. in this relationship. Maybe I can move the shoulders a little bit. Let's see. Let's suppose this is your random move controls. Create a group. I'm going to just select say random here. Random move. So we clear what we're talking about. Create a layer. Name the same. So, and now I'm gonna create one key. Remember when I mentioned that you need at least one in order to start using things on top of it. I'm gonna create select the whole timeline, maybe. Yeah. And I'm gonna start by using this simplify bake keys. If I turn this to the right, actually, you know what? I think I need another key here. No, that's a new thing. So, can even select the usually could select. Cannot anymore. Select the keys. I'm not selecting the graph editor. I think it's easier to see what's going on under the hood. So just two keys, no move at all. Just two keys. I'm gonna turn off the breathing so we can focus on that. And then I'm gonna start creating baking some keys. So when you move controls, that side's going to just create even space keys in there. Let's see how many keys. You need to find what's the best scenario. Like I think maybe 7, 6, or whatever. So created those keys for you. Next step, I'm gonna use this noise slider, and I'm gonna slide this to the left, and that's gonna noise things up. So what's going on right now is just, whoa, just a very random thing. And of course, you already notice that probably scales were not supposed to be in this. So I'm gonna probably just go to the first frame here and come on. My Wacom is crazy. I'm going to just delete this. Okay. Of course, that's a lot. But then you can just go there, select your keys again, and do the same thing that we did with. Oh, there's some step keys here. There. Oh, what is that? Hold on. Oh, I know what it is. I should have been more careful when I was creating the keys. Let me just start that over. I think it's better than cleaning those keys. What I had to do, actually I need to delete everything. I should have created just keys for translation and rotations. So you just select this. I'm going to just put keys in there. Hopefully now it's all good. I still have some keys that I don't. Oh yeah. I don't think I set it up. That's one of the difference of the smart key and this one. So the smart key is gonna hopefully set keys just for the channels that I selected. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. With animation layers. Let's check. Okay, no keys, that's what we need. Oh, that's not what we need. What happened to the head? Maybe I clean up the keys in here. Let me just key them again. Yeah, I think I deleted the scales on the base animation layer as well. Okay, so I have, let's try again, random move. I'm gonna, it's not showing all the rotation, so I'm just because it shows the last object, I'm gonna just select the head to the last one. And just mirror this. I'm gonna select those channels, make sure that everything is okay. And I think it's still key those ones. Okay, let's just do the old way. We don't want animation on those channels. Not scales. Yeah. I think it just did for the head. Okay, so again, key here, key there. I'm gonna do some, so same thing, like simplify the keys, it's Shift, Alt, Control, and move. That is okay. Create some keys. Where are you? I'm gonna noise them up. Let's see what I got. Breakdancing. Whoa. And now I just deamp that with my pull push. And then you can fine tune whatever you would like to do. I think that's too much. Yeah, that's more like it. And then you combine that with the breathing. Oops, way backwards. No. Let me just, I mean this one. And that's sort of what you have. And then the beauty of this, to me, is that everything here was done in a separated layer, and I usually keep that way if the pipeline your studio supports, which you should, because it's good. I can, oh yeah, I cannot turn it off. What? I can move this one. Interesting. Okay. Fair enough. Weird. Let's save this one as well. So you can do like animations on the layer, on the base layer, without any like noise and interference from the keeping alive. So if you want to do this section here, I'll do like look over there, and do like so. I'll probably just key all. Sharing everyone. Did I turn this on? And then you can do your timing here, whatever you want. I'll just do a quick 30. There's a breathing there. And you're keeping alive. Happening on top. See how that looks. So that's. I thought that was going to take 5 minutes. So I think the lip sync one is gonna be like 10 hours. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Good stuff. Thank you, David. Thank you, Daniel. There's a tools and while I have a feature to change rotation order. Kind of like how this space switcher works. That's an interesting question. My view on this is that sometimes the rig have the rotation order that you can change, like this one, so you can freely do it. And guess what? You can change the rotation order here without messing up. Like if you do like in this one, see how that pops up in a different position. Let's see if what I'm talking it's still true, because I used that in the past. Nope, didn't work. I think I fixed that after that code was locked down. But on any bot it will be. If that doesn't work, one workaround that you can do is with the fake constraint, which I will completely redesign because I don't like the way it is right now. You can copy relative to world. Then you do whatever you need. And then you paste 12 frames. No, you can just, if you click it, you're just gonna, that's why I don't like it. It's not, it's a little bit confusing. Oh, he pasted the, is the attribute back? Hold on. If I select just this. Oh, interesting. It's pasting the rotation order back again. Huh. Yeah, so it will work. And by the way, if you want to look more into this copy world thing, if you right click and copy, oh, there's no copy to copy all frames. Why not? I updated this. Damn it. Maybe I can do this. No, it's not gonna work. Yeah, it was a new thing. I forget. But it would copy, would store the world position for everything. But that's why I don't like the way that I did here, because I don't think this should be in the fake constraint tool. It should be a completely different tool, because it doesn't make too much sense to be there. But anyway, so there's some rigs that there is rotation order into the rig. Those ones are fine for you to switch back and forth, even animate this. Not in this case, because you can't. But you are free to do it. But if the rig doesn't have this, and you go here and change the rotation order, then in a pipeline you are screwed, because if you bring a new rig, it's gonna pop back to the old one and it's gonna mess up your animation all over. So what you can do, if you really need to change that, I don't think you should change that, to be honest. If the rig is well done, yeah, the rotation order is what's supposed to be. I mean, I might be wrong about this, but I don't think you will need to change. But if you want to like a bypass in a way, you can create a locator. Oh, let me show where that's gonna be in here. So that's align tool. See that create align locator function? That will do what I'm gonna do that manually. That's gonna do in a more automated way. Basically, we would select this, select all your keys, and boom, you would create one locator, animate it, and align it to this one. And then you would be able to constrain it to the locator, animate the locator, and then remove the constraint and realign to the locator. Or maybe I can even automate that. So we can create a locator. Where are the locators? Am I blind? There we go. Scale this up. And I think on A-Tools I need to set a key first. I'm not sure. But I'm sure that you can set all keys in the align tool. Oh, there it is. So yeah, that's it. I grabbed a control that there's not much animation on it, but I hopefully you guys can still see. So it's animated there. And then on the locator, you can go crazy and change the rotation order to whatever you want. And then you can constrain it to this one, and or you can. You don't even need to constrain actually. If you don't really, if it's a fast thing that you need to do, you may even be able to use the temp pivot. Let's try that. So if I select this one and this one, oh no, you will not be able to do it in A-Tools because it doesn't work for more than one frame. I don't think. So, yeah. I fixed that already, and the temp pivot will be here. Is this one? Those turquoise, is that turquoise or whatever pronounce this color, is manipulator tools. So I separated a little bit, like tools that are kind of, there's no family, like orphan tools, let's say. Manipulator tools, viewport tools, and so on. I don't know if I answered that question, David. Let me know. But I'll make sure, at least make sure that the switcher, if the rig has the attributes to change the rotation order, I'll make sure to make the switcher works for this. I'm not sure why this. Wow, it was 1 hour and a half. So I'm gonna show what I. Do you guys have any other questions so far? Maybe I can just type quicker. Maybe not. Let me just pop back my screen. So, yeah, everything's clear. Thank you. Let me see if I have anything else related to what I talked so far. You know, like there's a. I don't think we have. We're gonna have time today for the lip sync. Sorry. We can do that another time. I'll try to do that more often if you guys like it. But because lip sync is just gonna take a while, I can't still stay here for maybe like half an hour. I don't think it's gonna be enough. But how about I show you the other things that I. So I had, yeah, David, you asked about the rotation order. Is that because gimbal lock, by any chance? Gimbal lock issues? Or just because you want the translations, I mean the in-betweens, let's put it that way, doesn't work well when the rotation order is not set up in a good way. Because I can show that. I think I can show a few things that I do when I have gimbal lock issues. So next time, Alex is asking when is going to be the next time. My family is coming for Christmas Tuesday, so I'm excited about that. And probably my parents are going to stay until January, so probably after January 13th, anytime after that. It's going to be a bigger gap there. I still going to be working on Animal, but I'm gonna probably work when they are sleeping. So I'll be working quietly. I will not be able to do this. But after that, we can do it more. Okay, so let's talk about gimbal locks. Let me show my entire screen. Back to Maya. Just save this as another thing. So first of all, if you haven't look at why it happens yet, it's very confusing. Like even like sometimes I don't get it. But the main reason is that as an animators, we like to have. Where's my graph editor? So we like to have X, Y, and Z rotations, and that's the root of the problem on the gimbal lock, because the computers Maya needs to know what he needs to calculate first. It doesn't calculate like X, Y, Z, boom, there's the rotation. It needs to know which one's first. So that's why there's a rotation order in the first place. So if you turn this into gimbal, you'll probably see better, I think. I'm zooming in and that's not what it's supposed to do. There it is. Oh, that was too much. Oh no! Maybe control. What have I done? Now we can't see anymore. Do you guys know where that is? That is reset, maybe. No, no, no. Why shift? Oh, there it is. Thank you very much. Okay. So if I start rotating X, nothing goes with it. If I start rotating Y, the X are going with it because it's been calculated before the X. And if I rotate Z, everything goes with it. So what that means is that if you rotate X, X always gonna be the main rotation, so the twist here in the case of the hand. And even if I go crazy here, the X are always gonna be the right angle. So basically the idea of the rotation order, like the main thing that you should keep in mind is that the first rotation order is gonna be the main one, to whatever you control you need to do. So for fingers, for instance, hand is a much more complicated one because it moves and rotates, like the IK, moves and rotates everywhere. So it's kind of hard to choose which one is the main one. But for fingers, it's pretty straightforward. The main one in this case should be the Z. Oh, so it's not the Z, see? Like you'll have problems with animating this if you don't change that. Let's try here if that's gonna cause any issues. Let me just just kill this animation here. And so there's a command here that you can just clear everything. Let's see if it doesn't work. Okay, so let me try. I'm gonna pull these hands over here. So we can see that better. So there's two ways. If you want to zero out just the rotations, you can, like I said, like you can do this. Or in case of the reset, there is already one here. If you expand the toolbar, by the way, you can play around with this. Like try expanding things. Like there's more things underneath those tools here. And you can expand and pin them, and they'll stay when you collapse. Or you can go straight into this box here and then show the ones that you want. In the case here on the reset button, there's a few other ones that you can use. There's a reset translation, reset rotation, scale, and all the three. This one is not gonna, because sometimes what this is gonna do is reset to whatever the rigger set up to be the default value. So if you usually like translations and rotations is 0 and scale is 1, but all other attributes are random basically. Like if I select all here and hit the reset, it's probably gonna mess up a few things because the default value would be whatever. Is not necessarily the same that when you bring the reference to the scene. It's actually the one that was set up to be the default. Like when you if you add an attribute, there's this default value here. So like this one is 0. Sometimes the rigger let it to 0, but then set it up to be 1 and save the reference that way. And if you click on this, it's going to reset to 0 again. And that's, by the way, one thing that I want to do. Oh, that's my cat doing that noise. That's one thing that I plan to do here is like a map or whatever, like one thing that you can set your rig in a T-pose, and then you click, and then you specifically set your default values for that rig, because I think it's going to be more reliable. But anyway, you can use just this one for the rotations. And by the way, another way to use those kinds of shortcuts, take a look at the tooltips. Whenever there is a shortcut, you can take a look here on this list. So you can access the reset rotation with shift clicking this button. So if I hold shift, see how the icon already changed there? So shift is 1, control is scale, alt is translation, and all the 3, probably, no, just shift and control, it resets everything. Okay, so back to gimbal lock. Let me just see if you guys have any questions so far. Oh, there. Thanks, Alex. I just saw your message there. So yeah, I was going to show this. So if I animate, this should be Z first, Y next, and twist should be the last one, because we do this a lot with fingers. We do this, not as much, but also quite a bit. And this is the rarest thing that we do, right? With fingers, we still do it. I still do this, but much less than I do this. So, well, what's gonna happen here if I do this? Let's see. So far, I just moved one axis. We're good. Let's see if we do this. And maybe this. Oh, cool. Still works. Let's try to mess around a little bit more. Oh, nice. You're proving me wrong. Yeah. Hold on, it's not key. What did I do? It's actually working pretty nicely. Maybe I'm missing something underneath this rig that makes this work. Well, it's kind of working okay. Not messing too much. It's doing a little bit of a curve there, but I think, yeah, that might be an example. I think it's a very extreme. So that's like, I was playing with a rig this week at work, and I don't remember exactly what the rotation order was, but it was something similar to this, and I was having problem with the middle, like if I was spreading the fingers, and in the middle was doing a curve. Maybe if I do the same on those other two, it's gonna be more noticeable. Let's try doing it. Let's try to use this one. Yeah, probably that's a very extreme, but you can see that the kind of. By the way, there's a two things that I consider being like a gimbal issue, and I don't know if it's gimbal lock, but per se, but it's a gimbal issue. One is this one that I'm showing you guys. The other one is when there's a full rotation 360 in some of the channels. Those are actually much easier to solve. And I'm going to show you how to work kind of preventing them a little bit. So let's try the same pose, but I'm going to try to change the rotation. I can animate. Oh, I think I can animate that even better, because then I can. Okay, let's try. Let's try. Copy this key. If you want to copy, not copy the entire key, but like kind of blend to that frame. I don't know if you guys ever used the blend to frame. Basically, like you can go here and then you can grab whatever frame you want. Let's say the 17 one. You can grab actually two if you want. Like one side of the slider is gonna blend to one frame, the other side to another. But then you can just do this. Basically, what I did. Let me do it again. It wasn't clear. I think I'm gonna key first, and then I'm gonna just slide to that frame. So that's one thing that I use a lot for lip syncing that I was going to show, and I'm going to show in a later opportunity. Okay, let me try now to change this to the one. Let's see that again. So let me zero this out. Completely forgot what was the yeah, so Z, Y, X. Let me try that one. About time to do a finger direction set here. So that's Y-axis, the last one. So I'm gonna pop back. Okay. So see how even that pose, that weird pose, it's working kind of a better way already, like in a more like a linear kind of fashion. Like look at the difference. Look at the tip of the finger It's doing a really weird curve, going forward and then down and then the other way, like almost like an S. Oops. And this one, besides being weird, the tip of the finger goes more like a linear that way. So that's one thing. But if you cannot, like, I was struggling with the rig a lot this week, and I found one thing that helped me, and I didn't have that option to change the rotation order. So what I did, let me see if that's gonna work in this case. If you turn on this world mode, let me first, if you go to preferences, and if you say pin defaults, it's gonna just do whatever you get when you install it. So I'm just gonna do it that way so you can see me like showing things if in case you miss. So it's in there. There's a code space, and there's also this tweener Euler filter. That's one thing that I'm gonna show you in a few minutes. And there's also apply Euler filter. This command is pretty much the same thing as going here, with the advantage of not having to open the graph editor to do it. You can just select the controls and do it. Let's try this first. Let's see what we have, what happens now. Yeah, nothing to change in that case. This is only useful for when you have like from one key to the next, when you have more than 180 degrees. Like you can have more than 90 degrees on Z and more than 90 on Y, and that might be already a case for using the Euler filter. Okay, so first let me show the this one, the world space. This is a brand new thing. Like I literally coded a few more things like on this yesterday. So what happens is that it's gonna take the world position for everything. If I just apply here, it's probably gonna mess with translations as well. Let's take a look. Oh, by the way, let me see how the that's one thing that I need to re-implement. Let me check one thing here. Oh, it's actually in a hierarchy. If you have that kind of situation where what happened to me, let me see right now. Yeah. So what's going on here? It's getting the order of the controls of the hierarchy in not in a proper manner. You need it to be first this one. Let's see if that one would work. Yeah, so this one first, and then this one, and then this one. What it was doing there, it tries to do it automatic for you, but it's still not quite working. I thought it was, but it's not. So what it was doing, it was probably this, like it was doing first this one. So see how it snaps to the world position, but then once it does that, boom, it moves the children. And then it does that. So it was just the order that was not correct. I'm not sure if I did. Let me see if I select in a different order, if that would change. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it takes the selection order as the first guess, I guess. Okay, so if instead of doing this, let's try to just doing this. Yeah. This slider is not quite working as well. So let's try a different thing. Let's try this. Click that way. Okay, so I selected the translations as well. And of course, I got like linear transitions for all those controls. But I can zero this out, or just when I was using my hotkey. So let's see what we get. Still think it's not. This case is not quite working. Let me delete this. See if we get the same. Yeah, exactly the same. So it's not gonna work unless there's unless you can play with the translations as well, because this is also going to take in consideration the order. So if you can play with translations, then you are good. Then you can come here and then delete this. Let me try that again. Oops, wrong order. And then, you know, you can fix. I don't know if that's going to be helpful or not. Probably not. Yeah, so if you cannot change the order in those cases where it isn't already the one that it should be, I think you are screwed. Unless you do like a really weird setup with locators and constraints, but I think the time that we'll spend to do that for all the fingers is not gonna work. It's just better to do frame by frame when that happens. Any questions so far? Oh, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, the tooltips, Daniel is saying about the tooltips, that's actually one of the things that's taking me, like, you guys don't know, but I've been coding this. Let me show my face while we talk. So you guys might not know, but I've been doing this Animbot thing for almost a year now on my free time. I just released it now because I wanted to get to a point where it had at least a few things that are better than A-Tools. You know? I needed to get to a level where it was like a little bit above, at least. And I think that's where it is right now. It's just a little bit. And then I aim to be like a lot better. And one of the things was that tooltip, because I say that a lot, that a lot of people don't use half, not even more than 20% of the tools, the tools. And the main reason is lack of help, you know. Like I did the tool for my personal use, so there's a lot of like things that are not obvious, and the tooltip was. So then I thought, what is the best way to make like a easy thing? Because it's not a matter of having documentation. Nobody reads documentation. Who reads documentation? Like it links you to another page, like it goes out of Maya to a huge page that you need to search again what we're looking for, and it's just reading, image, static image, reading. Nobody does that. Like even the company that I was working, there was like huge like documentations of how to use every tool, and it would spend 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes even more, to just learn one simple thing that that was like 4 clicks that you had to do. So nobody really do that. I mean, a few people do, but not as much. And one thing that it was working quite well was when people would send emails like, here's how you with examples, was even better. Like, here's how I say how I solve gimbal locks when the rotation order is not right. Just give me an example if that exists. So then that would be like a quick video, like 1 minute or even less, or maybe a GIF, or maybe like a really small text. So that's when I thought, okay, this is to me this is the best way, but even better than that, it's writing the tool. That's that's the thing. Like, I want to know what that tool does, and then I point to the tool, and then it shows the tooltip. Share again. So it points, and there's help. It points. Oh, so that's what Twin Machine does. You know, like if we can go and take a look of what all of those does do. So we can come here and do it. And this is just this one is just the most like simple thing like that I did. I'm gonna add some examples on how to use it. So take a look. There's some tooltips there. It's not obvious yet. I probably have to do something that feels more obvious. But there's like second pages as well. Oh, there's a really weird bug there. Found one more. Okay. But there's this some of tools. There's more than one page. And when I get that to work, you might be able to look at even more stuff. So the first page is just like a quick look. Sometimes you look at it and don't remember, and then you can go back here, and that's gonna give you a quick snapshot to remember what it does, and then you can go to the next pages for more info. But even like the second pages and more will be like the least of text as possible, and more images and more animation, like video captures that you can see. And if you want, like if you have a day that you want to learn everything is going to be in there. So you can go one by one here, and then it's the same information on the tooltips. So for instance, the color keys, I was on this one. Probably here will be the same. Oh, well, that here is working. Interesting. So the same information that you have here, you'll have there. And you also have, I don't know if you guys ever use this. It's a search thing. You can search for everything. Like, say I want to learn how to color keys. Color. And it's gonna say everything about color. And the tooltip is gonna show up in here as well. So say you want to learn or want to remember. So how is that Euler filter that Alan was talking about? Then you can do here. It's a fuzzy match, so it gets like things that sometimes doesn't make too much sense, but it's there, like the filter here, and you can apply directly from here as well. Like if you say you want to reset, but then oh, I don't remember where that button is. You can even add a shortcut directly here. Like say I want a shortcut for the search. That is Control-Shift-S. What is conflicting with that? I don't use this. Okay, cool. So Oh, so is this Shift? Oh, I didn't press Control. It's the Shift S. Okay. So Shift S will be my search, and then I can do stuff like quickly, like I want to reset this. Boom, reset value. Boom. You can use that way. You can turn things on and off, like options as well from there. So it's another way to use this. So I lost track of what I was talking about. Is Facebook the best place to ask questions and feature requests? Yes, so far it's the best place. If you wanna, like you can even send me inbox. But if it is like an issue, I would prefer you guys to come and go here on the connect, report an issue, and you can. This is optional, your email name or email, but you can text here the whatever the issue you're having. And the reason that is when you do it here, I receive more information about your system, like what Maya version you are using, what Anybot version you're using, or like a lot of things that I sometimes would have to ask you again. So if you submit from here, it would save us a lot of time. Plus, it goes straight to a place where I'm organizing myself to fix like issues and stuff. But if it's a feature request, feel free to throw in on Facebook or send me an email or whatever. I think the only thing that I ask is the issue to be reported from here. You have a suggestion box here as well, if you want. Like if you want to quickly do it, I don't want to open Facebook or whatever. You can just drop a line here and submit. I will receive the information as well. And this one is actually better for me because it goes straight to my email and I can search it really quickly. On Facebook, sometimes the information gets lost. What else? Got to know now. Thank you for the screen. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so to wrap this up, I'm gonna show what the Euler filter does. If you turn that on, what's gonna happen is whenever you are using the tweener or tween machine, whatever you want to call it, it's gonna always apply the filter for you, because I noticed that, at least in my workflow, 99% of the cases that you have gimbal lock issues, or it's when you go from blocking to spline. And the reason is that in blocking you are kind of exploring things, right? So I can do things like, let me key this, see what happens, especially like iCase. So I can do this, and then I say, I don't like this pose, and then I'll do this, and that pose didn't went really well as well. I'm gonna go back. So what just happened is, look at the X that it just did, and then boom, gimbal lock, the translation. Sorry. But that's fine. Like if we're doing this and then later on you come here, like suppose this is still in step mode. So you're not seeing the problem yet. So if you hit on tween machine or tweener, you get a really weird tween there. But if I turn this guy on, it's gonna fix that for you. And then when you Maybe. I'm wondering why it still chooses to go around. That's actually really good that it happened, because I have a fix for this. Let me see if that happens again with that being splined, even with the filter on. Oh no, now that fixed, damn it. Oops. What did I do differently? Like this and this. And do this. Oh, now it decided to work. That's odd. Now I can't go back to where I was. But anyways, what this is doing basically is it would be the same as if you apply. You can turn off this. If you apply this filter first, when I apply it, you'll see that this is going to change back to this. Basically, it removed the 360 rotation that was in that channel. So it's going to do that whenever you create an in-between there. And that helps you preventing like 99% of the cases, at least for me. When that still is a problem, let's say, okay, I did one thing here. What did I do before? Let me try to do a much different pose. Let's see what happened. Okay. Let's see if the solve that. So no. So in those cases, what I do is I move this one manually and apply this again. In that case, let me see. In that case, it's not even that it's gonna solve. Fall into the same we fall into the same issue with the fingers. See? Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's related to rotation order. Let's try one more thing. Let's try to adjust. First of all, let me just turn this on. Just so we see what's going on better than. Okay. Yeah, I'm already seeing there that's not gonna help anything. Let me try that again. The last bit it worked. I just cleared the image. Yeah, that's the case that you are screwed. There's, as far as I know, there is no way. So the world thing might help a little bit, but I don't think even that it's not going to be that useful. That's when you need to frame a frame until you get to a situation where it goes okay. Let me try to see one thing here first. Okay. Go to legacy. So that thing's still working. Yeah, still works. I think I would solve that way. I would maybe track this and try to keep the this where I want. I can clearly see there where is the main issue. But boom, I'll try to fix this one. Let me see if that fixing this will I will be able to apply this one. No. Yeah, it's a combination of it's the devil combination where there's nothing you can do. I wish I could find an example here where the thing that I mentioned would solve, but you can try that first. Like, try to when you have that kind of thing, try to fix somewhere in the middle first, like whatever you want, and then apply the filter. Sometimes that works. Let me try to, oh, the second part, yeah. I'm not sure if that's, you can consider this to be working. But I'll do that. So sometimes that works. You fix like something in the middle, and then reapply the filter. But you need to maintain the keys. There's no way. Like if you delete the keys, everything will go back. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for this. That took, whoa, that's very long. 2.5 hours almost. Yeah, I knew that this is gonna be like in a very slow pace. Thanks for you guys that is already there and is still there. Hopefully we can do that more often, and if I get the hang out of it, I can do it more quickly. And feel free to share your thoughts with me as well. Like, don't be shy about like I'm not sure if my way to do it it's better than this or not. Just share with me. I don't mind. Like sometimes even if you don't think it's better, like sometimes I found that some stuff that people tell me about how they do it, sometimes just one little thing is so much better than what I do. The rest of the thing might not be sometimes, but sometimes there's one special thing there that I can use. So yeah, drop me an email or inbox on Facebook, whatever you prefer. And that's it. I'll try to do it more often with you. It was fun. It was cozy. There's 6 people now. Oh, that's nice. Nice and cozy. Hopefully the other guys can watch that later if they have 2.5 hours of their time free. That's it. I mean, feel free to share this beautiful. Like, it's not locked to patrons only. It's actually on Facebook, on Facebook, no, on YouTube. It's just not listed for search, but you can share this with your friends if you like. Just be mindful about, like, the only thing that I would do this with everyone, but I wanted to do something special for people that are being my patron on this, because I really Appreciate you guys doing that. So just be mindful of that. If you don't want to share that, that's totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. Let's just keep that with us. It's up to you. I'm not going to share it. I'm probably going to share this when I release Anybot. Then that's not going to matter anymore, right? Because, yeah, let's try. I'll keep trying the balance between doing this live things and actually coding, because I need to basically the thing that I need the most right now is time to do it, because I'm still working at the studio. I'm not working Fridays, but I'm working Monday to Thursdays, and I have only Friday and mornings to do this. Hopefully I can keep doing that. Thanks to you guys. And that's it. See you next time. Bye-bye.